Milvio, just by way of introduction, Milvio is a very good influencer on social media and an avid writer about improving project and program management, and even at a portfolio level. And what really created this discussion today was his recent comments about a Better Business Case course, that certification that he achieved at practitioner level. In context, before I hand over to Milvio for some questions and discussion, in Australia and New Zealand, we're seeing a lot of emphasis on infrastructure projects. Particularly in New Zealand, they have what they call shovel-ready projects, submissions going in. They're very, very mature in their business case application. And now if we're investing fast-tracking significant amounts of public and private money, we should be looking at improving business cases. So that's by way of introduction. And Milvio, congratulations on passing your Better Business Case certification.
Well, thank you.
Where did you, just checking on that, I'm interested to explore a few things about your interest in improving business cases and how you went about this study.
Well, at the time, I undertook my course back in, I think it was October 2018. And at that point, I was in an assurance function. So I was leading gateway reviews. So those familiar with gateway reviews, as a team, you look at particular program and project artifacts, and one of those things is are business cases. So having undertaken a number of other courses to broaden my knowledge in portfolio program and project management, I noticed the certification through APMG International around better business cases. And after having a read online around the available guidance, it really piqued my interest. And so I went about trying to find a local provider here in Brisbane.
So you actually did it by e-learning, and now what's been a very interesting change in the market, we're seeing a lot of our accredited training providers have switched to virtual. They are switched to virtual classroom, which is a fantastic initiative that they've done in a very short time. But there's also complementing that with blended learning on e-learning. How did you find the e-learning? Any hints and tips for someone that would be contemplating e-learning?
Yes, previously I've done mostly in-class training. It has both its advantages and disadvantages, and the same with online. So training, you get that one-on-one, you get that interaction with the other people, and it's obviously condensed. The one thing that appealed to me with the online learning, other than the cost effectiveness, was the ability to do it over a period of time. So I didn't have to dedicate an entire week to do both foundation and practitioner. I could take my time and actually really learn the content. And that's one of the I've found one of the best things around doing online training, as opposed to in class, where you're more inclined to, yes, get a broader knowledge of the concepts enough to be able to pass the exam, where my intent was to learn as much as I possibly could and be able to apply that within my work environment.
Well, the word application is very important, and particularly if you've got time, it's a bonus of e-learning where you can take that time and do a section, and even as you're working in a portfolio or project space, you can start to apply that knowledge. That makes that learning more real, doesn't it?
It does.
So I'm just thinking about the linking then with the benefits. Better Business Case approach that we've used in APMG is global. It's based on a model coming out from the Welsh Government and the UK Government. We're also seeing that New Zealand Government have adapted that, and they've also mandated the use of the Better Business Case certification. It's as a training certification. What other guidance, how did you think it related to some of the guidance that you've had in the government departments that you've worked on? Did you feel that it was relative? It's very hard to have a global certification. And did you find the concepts were easily related back to what you've seen in government?
Yes, I have. Part of doing assurance, I do reviews across Queensland government departments. So I'm across various different projects. And what I see is, in terms of Better Business Case, what it did was open my eyes into, yes, other methodologies provide guidance around what a business case should look like. But Better Business Cases, apart from breaking it down to at a higher level around the 5 case model. It also provides practical advice around what should happen. So most people tend to think that a business case, or in my experience, a business case is something that's approved once, plonked in the filing cabinet, and never looked at again. But what Better Business Cases actually showed was that it's an iterative process, and one that shouldn't merely be used as a governance hurdle for gaining approval without establishing a robust case for change.
Yes, and I think that's this is certainly a time for anyone listening that better business. If you have existing business cases, reinforcing that point, this is a time that every business case should be reviewed. I would be staggered if an organisation isn't reviewing their business cases in light of the major upheaval we've had. Even businesses doing well, which we have quite a few in the supply chains, are saying that they have re-looking at business cases in other investment. Would that be fair enough, that this is a unique time in our history where we should be reviewing business cases?
I would completely agree with that, Sabin.
Yeah. Do you find then that we, linking to that, if we've got the cousin, I used to, when I was teaching in project management, I used to then say that the two cousins are better business cases and benefits management. I'd be interested, interested in your comments on where you think that link is and how close that link was, and your comments on benefits management.
Yes, well, I've undertaken the foundation. I'm looking to do the practitioner sometime later this year. Probably not ideal. I should have probably organised a bit better, but for the work commitments. But yes, I do think they're closely related. I've actually drawn a diagram showing the relationship between better business cases and managing benefits. And I do like one of the comments from Stephen Jenner that he stated in managing benefits is that the benefits in a business case are better understood when the benefits plan is approved at the same time.
Yes, and that reinforces that they are either brother or sister or even cousins in some organisations. And I think that's a point where people are starting to look at the other aspect, is that your benefits and your business cases should be dynamic approvals. And to pick up on your point, they should be reviewed and approved and monitored as a twin pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, the thing that I tend to see is that most organisations, they embark on having a library of program and project management templates, and people get into the mindset of we just need to fill this document in to seek approval, but fail to basically focus on the information and evidence to support investment decision making or continued investment decision making, and based on the complexity of the initiative. And they also don't tend to focus on, these are living documents that should be regularly reviewed, as you mentioned, to make sure that they're still relevant. It goes back to the whole process of, there's a concept in managing benefits that Stephen Jenner developed, I believe, and it speaks around clear line of sight. So clear line of sight is basically a technique that for organisations to assess whether they're actually delivering on their strategic and organisational objectives through the realisation of measurable benefits. If the answer is no, then you start to question why you're actually investing in a program or project if that's not going to be the case.
Exactly, and I think that's where we put the context of where we're looking with business cases. If we are looking at, say, the infrastructure projects coming through, people are going to want to see when is a time where we can accept maybe the minimum lot of benefits achieved, or there'll be people going through with resources that are being tight. When can we switch a program off, or when can we stop a project or delay? So I think we're talking about increasing this, and I'm interested. I actually had the Managing Benefits textbook with me, and one of the people at the end said it's very interesting. It's not benefits management is rightly earning its place as a key management skill, and there's no better place to start and principles in this book. So I think that area of what I'm hearing from you, Milvio, is you've been seeking out to look at that improving your management skill, both in better business cases and in benefits. You mentioned foundation and practitioner. That may be something that's foreign to people. They're the two levels of examination that we have. Foundation, you might just explain what the procedure was for getting an exam or doing your exam online.
Yep, basically you go through from memory, I think it's 50 multiple choice questions. It's closed book, and it basically tests your knowledge of the concepts, the themes, processes, and within within 1 hour, I think a little less.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. The foundation knowledge is closed book, and it's a number of multiple choice questions, and it's there to make sure you understand some of the concepts. You did that online? That was not a problem?
Yes, I did. The foundation was done online.
Yes. And the practitioner?
The practitioner, I actually elected to take the exam at an accredited training organisation here in Brisbane.
Yeah. And now with the nice thing for people saying, how can I do my exam when I'm doing it on virtual learning? We have the accredited training organisations helping invigilate people do that exam when they're coming in online. If you want to have a look at anyone, what a typical online exam looks like, APMG also offers sample exams. If you can remember the keywords sample, exams, APMG, you'll find that there's a whole selection, and that adds to your a bit of preparation for your study, doesn't it, Milvio? You can go on and have a look.
I found them invaluable, really. You can, where there are multiple versions, what I tend to do is I'll test my knowledge prior to reading the guide.
Yes.
And if there is another version, I'll tend to, well, even the same exam, I'll after I finish reading the guide, I'll test myself again and see if there's any themes, areas that I need to basically work on to improve for the exam itself.
And look, that's a very sound technique. And the other thing, and my contact details will be at the end of the posting of this podcast, but also the syllabus, and provide you an outline of some of the key study areas. And if you find that the practice exam means an area that you probably need to strengthen, the syllabus will say where the particular aspects are covered in the reference textbook. So I think that's another fabulous sort of use of helping people understand, rather than just getting a certification. We are wanting to make sure that people can really take that knowledge on. So the key message there for that everybody is, even in these times of remote learning, we and our accredited training providers have all now going through virtual classrooms, which is a great skill that trainers, as an ex-trainer, I can remember my first virtual class, and it was I was exhausted. But by the same token, it's one of the things that we've got there is we can have people within your time zone from different countries. And we're very fortunate that we potentially could have people from APAC coming through and in your classroom. So there's a broader lot of exchange of ideas. Now, Milvio, you've just summarised a couple of key things. What would be some take-home messages for anyone sitting there in an organisation that has a business case that they're looking at, or thinking about skills? What would be some of your take-home messages from today?
Probably one of the key messaging for me from better business cases, just bear with me. One of the things was, when developing a business case, to actually look at the long list of viable options to redress the business problem.
Just got a bit of noise in the background there. Sorry, Milvio.
Sorry, yes. Unfortunately, there's an NBN connection happening in the background.
There you go. So this is live, everybody. This is a chat discussion. So that's okay.
One of the things...
Everybody, this is certainly not quite live television, but in the age of COVID, everyone's doing their best. And
one of the things that came to mind in terms of better business cases was, particularly when developing any business case, is that to look at the long list of viable options to address the business problem. What often happens, we only look at, and it links back to managing benefits, around placing the cart before the horse, where we'll have a predefined solution and we'll build a business case around what our preconceived ideas are, rather than trying to work out what viable options are there to actually and cost effectively redress the problem.
Yes.
So Better Business Cases goes through the methodology of assessing your long list of options and then through a series of processes to develop a short list to determine a preferred way forward. That's something that's specific to Better Business Cases. It's guidance that's not available really anywhere else that I've noticed, neither in other methodologies or even online. And also that I really love the fact that Better Business Cases actually links back to OGC Gateway Assurance. I think that the two things go hand in hand. It links back to managing benefits. Basically, key decision points. We basically undertake a review to make sure that the initiative is actually progressing as agreed.
Excellent. Well, look, Milvio, thank you. I'd like to thank you for your time and your insight and some take-home messages for people, certainly throughout this short podcast. But the key things that I think we've heard from Milvio today are that there is a value in there's depth of knowledge there that you can have if you're looking at your business cases. These are times with the upheaval and the uncertainty that we've had that there should be no better time for you to review your business case, which is your reason for investment. I also commend, and when anyone's looking at commend Better Business Case and the cousin or twin, the managing benefits, to anyone that's looking at shovel-ready projects or projects that are being fast-tracked. Milvio, it's also great to hear for someone who's continuing to study, can see the values of the certification, and also has used our online exam service. Everybody, the accredited training organisations are delivering courses virtually. You also have options to purchase e-learning, and it's all about making benefits and better business cases a management skill. And what better time if you are still using self-isolation to look at improving your skills. Milvio, thank you very much. Really look forward to hearing more. Milvio, you do have a LinkedIn profile. Yes, we will put that link there, and you're very active, and look forward to continuing the discussion on our LinkedIn profile.
Thank you.
Right, Milvio, this concludes the Midday Matters, Midday Mentors, I should say, from Australia.